Today is Sunday, June 2nd, 2024. We continue with Tanya, the practical Tanya, following Rabbi Chaim Miller's book on Shneur Zalman's concept of the unifications of the Kabbalah with modern thinking that Tanya presents. And the contrast, we're in chapter 7 right now of 12. 12 chapters, we're in chapter 7 of the second book. We finished the first book, 53 chapters. And now Tanya keeps building the understanding of the unity of God. That concept, how do you go from infinity to final? How do you go from God of infinite into our world? And basically, two things we discuss. We discuss about diminishment of the God's light, from infinite light of God. Light goes through the several worlds, the main four being Atzilut, Biriya, Yetzirah, and Asiya, until it comes to our world. And a space and time only come up in Asiya. Until then, the space and time are not there. So creation, essentially, it's not what we normally think. If you create something, you mean, when did you create it? Who created it? How was it created? But that concept of when, time, and where, the space, doesn't exist until the creation, essentially not a dynamic process of time-wise, but ongoing process of the concept being evolved, and time and space gets evolved only in the world of Yetzirah. So that process of diminishment of the God's light from very, very bright, holy light of God to our world, which is with like an aperture reduced, and also dimmed both. That world is presented also with a series of sfirot, 10 sfirot: Chochmah, Bina, Da'at, Chesed, Gevura, Tiferet, Chod, Netzach, Chod, Yesod, Malchut. And the world of Malchut, the lowest sfirot, that's a transformation from the infinity into space and time, domain creation. Last time, we discussed details, analogy, how it happens. We use the limited analogy and yet something for our mind to the grasp. So that concept was debated with, are these attributes, sfirot, are they real? Does God actually has 10 attributes? Or this is just a manner of expression? And within Kabbalists, there was a difference in opinion. Some Kabbalists, strongly, more classical Kabbalists, if you will, more strongly believe that actually there are attributes. There is a Chesed, and there is a Gevura, and there is a Tiferet. Others believe that this is just expression. It's just a way for us to understand, for human mind, how it works. Rambam, for example, clearly not a Kabbalist, more rationalist, that use logic most of the times. Even Rambam agrees, states with the idea that they don't exist, these attributes. This is just the way we understand it. But some Kabbalists felt, from a God standpoint, they do not exist. It's all one. But from our standpoint, they actually do exist. So it was like splitting hair on philosophy a little bit, but in the end of the day, the debate was going back and forth among Kabbalists. Essentially, when the Tanya came in, Tanya took a concept of it's all one, space, continuous. And the Sfirot, the Zohar discuss about, Kabbalists discuss about, this is just the manner of presentation from our standpoint. We see it, but from God's standpoint, it's all one. Now, another concept of tzimtzum, which is contraction. The Kabbalists who had idea that, especially, the Kabbalah, Zohar, is 2,000 years old, or Kabbalists were even before. Rabbi Akiva was a Kabbalist, essentially, although known as a Talmudist normally, and then goes to Ezekiel, who was a holy chariot, and goes all the way back to Moses and Adam Harishon, Avraham Avinu. So the Kabbalah was going through, it's an integral part of our essence, of our religion, just like Talmud is, just the Midrash is, it's all combined. Thousands of years of knowledge that the Judaism presents. So Tzimtzum was, how do you explain our space? And the attempt was made, God withdrew himself voluntarily. He said, I'm going to come out of here, I'm going to leave it to the universe, and you guys act in there. Of course, I will supervise this, I will do it, and different groups believed that influence is in different ways. Some felt God pulls the strings all the time. Some felt he only periodically, and a crisis comes in. But in any case, it was the idea that God withdrew himself physically and left them the space. Tanya doesn't go by that concept. Tanya says, no, it's all one. Analogy we used in the previous recordings, it's like my hand. I'm looking at my hand. Is it really me and my hand, or hand is also part of me? I'm looking at my hand. Is it my hand? It's me, and well, it's one. That's maybe the best way to come analogy. God and the universe, it is part of him physically. I am, you are part of God. It's just the way he presented himself in a way that spanned the infinity and finite. Therefore, he's everywhere. Not only infinity, but in the finite. That's the concept we discussed for the previous, 90, I think it's our 92nd recording. So that concept was actually strongly opposed by Mitnagdim, opposers. Classically, Vilna Gaon is known to be a very strong opponent to that. That's Mitnagdim. Vilna Gaon rejected that very strongly. Hasidic books we're talking about 300 years ago. In 1772, end of the 18th century, was a debate between Hassidim and Mitnagdim. Hasidim were represented by Zalman, Shneur Zalman, and I don't remember who was in a debate from the Mitnagdim standpoint, but it was one of the Vilna Gaon's representatives. Hasidim were shown very knowledgeable in Talmud and Torah, certainly went by the halacha, did everything that all the classical rabbinical Jews do, and yet their views were rejected as heretical, and Vilna Gaon put a ban on them. The books were burned. This reminds us, when you think about it, Nazi Germany, when Jewish books were burned. So, not a good things happened to us. So Vilna Gaon was saying that he wrote that Hasidim misinterpret the Torah and proclaim on every stick and every stone, "These are your gods, Israel." Quoting Exodus 32:8, proclaimed that. Compare them to worshippers of golden calves. So Vilna Gaon mentioned, well, if you think God is in stone, think God is also in trees, God is everywhere, that's like you're bound to the stones, you're bound to the trees. We reject that. That's almost idol worshipping. Well, I think Tanya was more than that. Tanya didn't say that we bow to the stones. Tanya said God is everywhere. It's not different entities of God. It is all one. I don't know. Something was missing in understanding. Gaon had publicly declared a few months before the Tanya sent to print, anyone who is called a Jew, whose heart is touched by fear of God, it is incumbent upon him to repulse them and persecute them, the Hasidim, with every kind of persecution and subjugate them wherever the hand of Jew can reach. Wow. Come in a minute. See? I have to help out the morning prayers. Gaon appeared to have been sympathetic towards the view that Tzimtzum was literal. It will also be highly not characteristic of Rabbi Shneur Zalman to charge Gaon with heresy, when the other writings he accounts him in utmost respect. Shneur Zalman respected Gaon, respected his knowledge, and he was very hurt for the Gaon rejecting the discussion. And it is strange that instead of when Rabbi Shneur Zalman went to talk to Gaon, he skipped town and he didn't come back to his home until Hasidims left. Today, 300 years later, there's no division. It's now a very nice merger, and Hasidim and Mitnagdim, we don't even call people Mitnagdim today, we call them Haredi or religious or Orthodox. Many ultra-Orthodox community, like in Meir Sharim in Jerusalem, mostly Hasidim. different groups of Hassidim, belts and satmars and this and that, Nachman, Bretzlav. So 300 years, we passed that. But Judaism for thousands of years went to, you can say fortunately, unfortunately, so the internal struggle to prove something that's so esoteric and so theoretical that really shouldn't be a fight and should be a discussion. So we're sitting down and talking about. Today, even today, Karaites are rejected by the most rabbinical Judaism, and yet Karaites who believe only in written Torah, not into oral Torah, have also contributed a lot to the Jewish thinking, to Jewish thought. We have to come together, brothers, and stop thinking about
Your turn.
coming. Yeah. See, I have to go to the Shachrit. We have to call practical things. Stop talking. Start praying. So that's a message for unity of the world. Reform, conservative, Orthodox, ultra-Orthodox, modern, Hasidim, this and that, Haredi, other religions, Buddhism, Confucianism, Islam, Christianity, all people, we all come from Adam Harishon. We all come from Adam, the first man created by God. That's a unity that the current times are showing us, and that's what we strive to do. So have a great day. We'll talk more tomorrow.